Blog Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience and the equation of that experience. I would like to go ahead and launch right into it. Tried to set up the chat room. Let me see how that's working here. It's not. There it is. LOA. There it is. Mary Jean's on it. Hello. Okay. All right. So had a little bit of a mix-up, which has caused a bit of disorganization. But other than that, I think we're going to go right through it. I want to talk with you today about the Kundalini and whether or not it actually leaves a person. Whether or not that once it's up, is it ever not present in the person's body, in the person's expression, in the person's voice, in the person's look, in the person's senses? Is it ever not there? Does it all of a sudden just pull back and leave itself disconnected from the individual? And I want to talk about that because, some people think that it's like Jell-O. Once you eat the Jell-O, the Jell-O's gone, and it isn't that way. And my Kundalini has never ever left me. And hi, Mary Jean, and it is a permanent fixture of anybody that has it come awake within them. And whether or not it chooses to express itself in a certain way at a certain time for a certain person or for a certain group of individuals, that is what will be determined by the Kundalini. It doesn't mean the Kundalini is not there. Doesn't mean the Kundalini is not streaming or not coming through the individual. It just means that the Kundalini itself has chosen to frequency itself into a different place. Whether or not people can pick up that frequency is going to be dependent upon them. It's very important for people to understand this. Kundalini is a permanent fixture. If the Kundalini for some reason doesn't want to ride my voice, say for instance on this radio show, then it has the full capability of not allowing people to feel it or to make sense of it or to work with it in any way whatsoever. But it doesn't mean that it's disappeared. It doesn't mean that it's no longer there. And it may just be a site-selective type of scenario. So, for instance, I'm just going to use Mary Jean here because she's in the chat room. Let's just say Mary Jean, for whatever reason, the Kundalini in Mary Jean does not want her to feel the Kundalini in Chrism's voice, does not want her to acknowledge it or to be able to make any sense of it whatsoever. Well, the Kundalini itself is quite capable of editing out any Kundalini expression from Chrism to Mary Jean, because Mary Jean's Kundalini maybe doesn't want her to have that. And the scenario is this. In many cases, a person can get too much energy. They can have too much of a process for the body to handle at a given moment. And I'm not saying this is the case with Mary Jean at all. I was just using her as an example. But in some cases, there's just too much. And the Kundalini will effectuate a governing principle upon that individual so that they don't get too much energy. Any of the students that I have that have done copious amounts of devotion, copious amounts of practice, doing the 5 Tibetans twice a day, doing the Shaktipat, doing all these things, they can all of a sudden be basically told through pain that it's time for them to stop and let the physical body, let the emotional body, let the psychological body process what the Kundalini is giving them. Oh, I need to know if the sound is coming through okay. Mary Jean or Vincent, can you write or type really quick just a Y or an N, letting me know whether that's happening or not? I don't want to be talking, to my window here. So thank you. Thank you for letting me know about the sound quality. I always forget to check that. Sound is good. Thank you very much. Okay, so as we continue, the presence of Kundalini Shakti in a person's expression is going to vary from individual to individual. The expression of the Kundalini Shakti as it comes through the look of a person, the eye gaze of a person, the movement of a person, the voice of a person, the touch of a person is going to vary from individually. Mary Jean says, I missed the beginning of what I really need to hear. And so I'm just going to back up a little bit from Mary Jean because she was so kind in letting me use her as an example. And this conversation, Mary Jean, is about the Kundalini and whether or not it leaves a person or abandons a person or decides to shut itself down for a certain amount of time for a person. Whether it comes through a person to say, Mary Jean, there was no Kundalini in the way you put on your shoes this morning. And all the other times that I've watched you put your shoes on in the morning, Mary Jean, well, I have seen and felt the Kundalini come through, but not today. Okay, and so that would be more about the Kundalini in the individual, not observing the shoe putting on rather than the individual putting on their shoe. They're still putting on the shoe the same way they always do. Okay? You're not changing that up so much unless, they got a different pair of shoes or a new pair of shoes, or let's just say the shoes are worn out and they need to get another pair of shoes. But the Kundalini is always going to be expressive through the individual doing whatever they do that other people observe with regards to Kundalini. Now, I know other people have different theories about this and different experiences about this, and I'm certainly not going to challenge them. How can you challenge somebody else's authentic experience? That's their authentic experience. But I'm going to suggest it's more for them than it is for other people. It's not necessarily that, Chrism's experience with receiving, say, Mary Jean's Kundalini is going to be an effect upon Mary Jean's Kundalini. No, it's going to be an effect on Chrism. Did that come through clear enough? So if Chrism is looking at Mary Jean and he's looking at her put her shoes on and he's been getting Kundalini vibes from her every time he observed her putting her shoes on. And this has never happened, folks. I'm just using Mary Jean as an example. I don't even know if she wears shoes. And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, Chrism's looking at Mary Jean and he's like going, wow, I don't feel the Kundalini, and maybe the some sort of a communication comes to Chrism about Mary Jean. It's like, well, Mary Jean, your voice is not coming. Your Kundalini's not writing your voice, or it's not writing the way you put your shoes on or take your shoes off or whatever. It's not coming through that way, and I can't see the positivity in that kind of a critique. And if I were Mary Jean, I would tell Chrism, I'd say, hey, Chrism, maybe this is just your perception of the Kundalini in me that maybe is not coming through clearly for you. So that's what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that not everybody is going to be able to perceive the Kundalini the way it comes from an individual that is expressing Kundalini the same way every time. I know for a fact that my Kundalini turns itself up and down on its own. So, for instance, when I'm getting petrol at the gas station, except for the radiance field, I'm just getting petrol. I'm not Shakti-potting everybody in the gas station or the grocery store. If I'm in the supermarket or the grocery store where I'm buying food for the week or for the month, whatever it is, I'm not given a Shaktipat to everybody in the line except through the radiance. And the radiance itself can also be mitigated by the Kundalini. And just to be clear, radiance is a combined expressive combination, and I'm getting this, I have to word this correctly, divine expressive combination that comes from each of the 7 chakras and coalesces within the auric field, but even beyond it. Kundalini amplifies these energies tremendously, and so you have a very, very large footprint for Kundalini when it comes to the radiance. And so this is, of course, where you want to begin to learn how to correct your thinking. If you're thinking constantly in negative terms, or if you're feeling depressed, or you're feeling in some ways, emotions or intentions that maybe you don't want. The 2-year-old in the car behind you in the gas station, maybe you don't want them to participate in those things that you're feeling. And so you have to initiate levels of self-discipline and self-control that allow you to control your thoughts. And from controlling your thoughts, you can also begin to control your feelings as well. And it's very important to be able to control these expressive elements. But the Kundalini also, it will control itself as it expresses through you. So if I'm not seeing Kundalini in the way Mary Jean puts her shoes on, well, that's more on my Kundalini perhaps than it is on hers. And if I were to say, "Oh, Mary Jean, I didn't notice the Kundalini coming through the way you put your shoes on. Is everything okay?" Or immediately putting some sort of a negative spin on it. I would think, if I were Mary Jean, I would ask Chrism just try to keep things positive and productive. Positive and productive. And as we're able to keep things positive and productive, we're able to move forward. And if there are blockages there, say, the Kundalini in Mary Jean doesn't want Chrism to see itself coming through her, or, if Mary Jean's Kundalini has turned it down on its own, not coming through, well, then that's just fine as well. Okay? But I think it's very, very important to keep things positive. We have so much negativity in our world right now, and really in all time epochs. But the more humans are populating this planet, the more of a human condition is inserting itself into the radiance of the planet. And so with humans, we go through these evolutionary levels of karma, what it is to be a brute, what it is to be a princess. We cover that entire spectrum. And so as more people come into this world, more evolutionary changes of an emotional nature and an expressive nature come into the vibe or the radiance of the planet. And because we have more people now than we've had in, say, a long time, I'm certainly not going to say what the scientists would say and say, "Oh, well, this is the most people we've ever had on this planet." Well, we don't know that. I don't buy into the scientific understandings that, well, this Earth is 10 billion years old and we've got this much more to go, and this is how many people were there in AD 760, and this is how many people were there in BC 1000. They don't know. They don't have a clue. They can only basically measure things based upon scientific method. And until scientific methodologies are open to expanding themselves beyond economic interests, then I'm always going to have a bit of a distrust for some of the scientific methodologies and assumptions that are made. And so to me right now, the amount of population that we have on this world right now is coloring the radiance of the planet. So right now we have a lot of people, something like 9 billion people on the planet. We're really pushing other creatures, other fellow mortals onto the brink of extinction, and we have, scientists going down and looking for the rarest, most beautiful things, and then stabbing them with a needle so they can take it back to the Smithsonian in the USA and say, "Oh, look what I found." You know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't have a great opinion of science, even though I'm talking on a computer, which is an invention of science. And so there we have it. But with the Kundalini, as more people come into this world and are expressing themselves and evolving towards the Kundalini, we're having a greater and greater and greater level of discordant, survival-based, karmic, balancing-based energy enter into that planet, the planet's radiance. And this, there can be a lot of negativity in that. People have to go through a lot of the permutations of what it is to be a human being in the different guises or the different forms that the human being adopts as they go through life after life after life on this world. They must be the princess and they must be the brute. And they must be those things as concretely and as truthfully expressive as they can. And what I'm saying and suggesting is that within a Kundalini context, Mary Jean, she has gone through all these other lives. Vincent has gone through all these other lives, and now finally Mary Jean and Vincent are here in the Kundalini compendium or the Kundalini continuum, and now you can purposefully control your thoughts. You are no longer the reflection of your thoughts, but you are the creator of your thoughts, and you're looking at your thoughts, and I'm going to suggest you begin to control how you think, because how you think, in many ways, controls how you feel, and how you feel is just one step. I mean, that is right inside of the radiance field. How you feel emotionally is what you're bringing into the radiance of your Kundalini and into that 2-year-old, a car behind you in the gas station, but also into the planetary radiance. Because your radiance as a Kundalini person is so bold. It is such a bold and brilliant energy that you'll bring that into the planetary radiance as well, which means that you'll bring it into your house and into the neighborhood and into the city and into the country and the continent and et cetera, and so forth. And so I am going to suggest that you try to keep things in a Kundalini level as positive as you can. And I know it's not all positive. I mean, it is and it isn't. It's positive in the sense that we're being given this great gift of having evolution occur for us in real time, having the Kundalini right now. That's a great gift. However, the hard and difficult areas are exactly that. They're very hard. They're very difficult. Controlling the way you think is a challenge in and of itself. How do you respond to people that do bad things to you? Are you forgiving? Are you tolerant? Are you honest? Or do you just kind of flip out at them? Or are you kind of giving them bad news? Spoon feeding them bad news. Oh gosh, this is terrible here, and oh my gosh, that's terrible over there. And it's like, why? Why would you do that? What possible positivity is that going to give to you? Okay, I need to make another sound check here. So Mary Jean, Vincent, maybe a couple of the guests there, let me know if the sound is coming through, because the little light that I have on my Skype has gone out, and so that makes me think that I might not be Skyping right now with you. And Mary Jean is perfect sound. That's so weird. Wow. I tell you what, it's as much a conundrum with these electrical instruments to work with the Kundalini. I mean, at least the body's designed to have Kundalini. The iPhone, I don't think, is necessarily designed to have Kundalini, nor is the Dell Inspiron computer that I'm working from right now. Anyway, so thank you, Mary Jean. Thank you, and best sound ever. I don't know if it's the best sound ever, but I'm grateful that it's going through. So very, very good. Now, if anybody has a question or a comment that they want to make, that includes anybody in the chat room or anybody that's called in, Eileen, Santara. Who else is here? Let's see. Eileen, Santara. Somebody with a 651 area code. It looks like Rosemary. And then it looks like Josephine. So anybody has a question or a comment they want to make about this, Santara, she can just come right on in. But for anybody else, it looks like you're going to call in, and the call-in number is New York City area code 347-934-0026. 347-934-0026. Another thing that you want to consider within the gifting of the Kundalini from itself into you through a teacher or through a system or some sort of an equation is the sine wave activity. The sine wave. The sine wave is that up and down measurement of an energetic wave. In other words, you have your highs and you have your lows. And it's just like a serpent. The serpent, if you look at a serpent down, you're standing and you're looking at the serpent's on the ground. So you're looking at the serpent on the ground. Hopefully it's not coiled up and hissing at you or shaking a rattle at you. But if it's just laying there on the ground like a nice snake, not being, freaked out by you, you're not trying to kill it or scare it or anything. It's just going to have that, that shape. That shape, and that shape is kind of like a straight line with squiggles in the middle of it, and that squiggle is the sine wave. At least the way I'm looking at it. You might just look up sine wave on Google, SINE space WAV as in Victor E, and that will give you a much better explanation than I did right now. But Kundalini comes through as a sine wave. It comes through a person, and it expresses as a sine wave through an individual. And so you'll have your highs. And these highs, the Kundalinis come through you, and it's coming through other people, and blah, blah, blah. And, it's very easy to discern. It's very easy to feel. It's very easy to acknowledge the presence of the Kundalini coming through that individual or through that equation or through that practice or through that religion. But at other times, as it's descending from that high arc of the sine wave and it's descending itself down, it can diminish itself too. It can diminish itself. And so as you go to that peak of that high expression, you can also fall into the depth of the valley, into that low expression. And back and forth it goes. It's like being on a Ferris wheel, right? As you, and this will be for European and American, maybe South American audiences. A Ferris wheel is a carnival ride where people sit in seats, and on this really huge wheel, they sit on the perimeter of this wheel. And it takes them high up in the air, and then it takes them down, all the way to the bottom, and then back up in the air, and then down, and then back up, and then down, and then back up, and so on and so forth. Well, the Kundalini can do that exact same thing with an individual. Not a problem for the Kundalini. Matter of fact, it aids in the processing. And Mary Jean has a statement. She's saying, I had a funny thing happen a few days ago. I woke up with a sentence in my head. It said, "The janitor work is done now." Oh. Well, this is what I would think of that statement in your head. The karmic cleanup is done now. You can go further now. The janitor work is done. The custodial nature of the inner work that you've been doing is done now. Now you step out into the population, Mary Jean. Now you step out into the world. Now you begin to go to a different stage of Kundalini expression. And you do like I think I'm going to be doing tonight. I'm being called to a hospital tonight, and I'll be going to a hospital, to Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital sometime this evening, and just going in and beginning to there's a word I'm looking for. I guess irradiate isn't the word because that indicates radiation. But we'll just say, I'll use a Kundalini term here. That's not a common Kundalini term. I will say I will envenomate the hospital with Kundalini, with the Kundalini that flows through me. Envenomate means it's when you get a snake bit, you are envenomated. The venom of the snake has come into you, and so what I'll be doing is I'll be giving the venom of the snake and of the spider and of the cougar and of the tiger and of the lion and of the eagle and of the orca and of the wolf to that hospital, to the walls of the hospital, to the floor of the hospital, as a permanent fixture of that hospital. And then any human that is walking on that hospital or is a patient in that hospital will receive the benefits of the energetics that the Kundalini leaves there. When I was working closer now, there are still plasma trails that I have left in very specific hallways in the surgery centers of that hospital. I can see them right now. It's just the strangest thing, but it's very cool at the same time. And so, Mary Jean, now it's the time for you, perhaps, to leave some plasma trails where you live. Maybe go to a hospital where you live. Maybe go to a homeless shelter where you live. Maybe go to any type of a volunteer scenario where you are, and to begin to insert your Kundalini radiance, your Kundalini kindness, your Kundalini positivity into the population and the environment where you live. And let's not forget, it's not all about humans. It's not all about humans. It's about the animals too. It's about the insects. It's about the viruses, the bacteria, the spores. Everybody participates in the grace of Kundalini, not just people. And Mary Jean continues, she says, maybe that's why my hands are always so hot now. Well, Mary Jean, I think maybe you're correct. You are correct. It's time to move into the next stage. And I think that voice said to you very clearly, all right, you've done a lot of your cleanup work. Custodial work is done. Let's move on to the next stage. And I think that next stage may be for you. But don't just take my word for it. Talk to your Kundalini, go into meditation, go into devotion, and communicate with your Kundalini. Talk with her. Tell her if Chrism, ask her, is that Chrism guy? Is he talking sideways out of his mouth, or is there an energetic coming through him that might be truthful or not? I mean, find out, for yourself by developing a stronger, more trusting, more confidence-based communication between you and your Kundalini right now. Begin it. As soon as we're done with the show, Mary Jean, I think you're on the East Coast over there somewhere anyway, and so it'll be later in the evening for you. It'll be like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. And now, without further ado, I would like to introduce Her Holiness, Her Highnessness, the Queen of Questionable, Consumptive, well, I'm not done. Consumptive.
I'm waiting.
The Celtic Queen of Questionable Comforts. Her Holiness.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Chrism. Hi, everybody. Hello to everyone in the chat room. Nice to hear you were there. Hi, MJ. I know you're there. Are there other people there, Chrism?
Yes, we have Vincent 91. We have Her Holiness Mary Jean. We have guest 1963, and I noticed guest 1963 quite well because that's the year of my Ford truck, 1963. Hopefully, guest 1963 is in better condition than my Ford truck. We also have guest 1954, and I look at guest 1954 as well, and the landlord here, Francine, has a 1954 Airstream trailer. I'm looking at it right now. So it's kind of cool. So hello, guest 1954, 1963. So we have 5 people in the chat room, which it's a little less, but I don't know if the little incoordination at the beginning of the show, whether that had anything to do with it or not. I don't know.
Okay. Well, hi to everybody listening as well, to members from Minnesota, to everybody who's there.
Wait, your sound is breaking up. Can you, I don't know if you should back away from the microphone. Is your finger over the microphone? You're using your iPad, right?
I'm using my phone. Let me try again. How's that?
Much better.
Better?
Much better. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, that was really interesting, Chrism. Thank you. I certainly know about those sine waves, the ups and the downs. I mean, my goodness. A few months ago, I was at...
You mentioned something interesting. When I went to, and I don't know if everybody knows, but when I went to the conference in London, there was a lot of very, very strong energetics that were coming at me there. And I remember going back into a dark closet. I think you were there, Amelia. You visited me in that dark closet, and I was just like kind of getting in a meditative space, but also doing some vocalizations because I was intending to sing a little bit during the presentation. But then when I got up there on the stage, I was asked to do a PowerPoint presentation, which isn't part of my presentation. And it popped me right out of my Kundalini consciousness. And I really, really, really struggled. And you noticed that a bit. Did you, Amelia?
Yeah, I did. I did, of course, yes, Chrism.
Did it come back? Did it return? Or did it stay gone through the whole thing?
It returned. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
it returned. Is my sound gone again?
No. Yeah.
No, it's returned.
When you said return. It will go and it will come and it will go and it will come. With the radio shows, you said last week you didn't feel it at all, right? Last week?
No, I didn't say that. I said I said last week's show I didn't. There was yes, in part, yes.
Good, thank
Not
you.
the whole show.
I didn't. I never ever listened to these shows. I never listened to these shows.
I don't either. I just can't bear to hear myself.
I know exactly. And I don't necessarily watch all the videos either. I mean, I watch them for quality, and I'll take out certain things. But once it's set, I never return, and I never, I just don't do these things. I don't know why I don't do them, but I don't do it. And so.
Well, I watch your videos, Chrism, but I would never watch my own.
Well, maybe that's a Kundalini thing too. I mean, let's open that up to anybody else who wants to comment on that. So yeah. Anyway, so.
But those sine waves, though, that you're talking about, I mean, those are real. I mean, they're so real. Let's say going back to September, which isn't that long ago, I would have been, when I came back, I was on a high. I was on this amazing high. And then I plummeted and I was on a down, When I say on a low expression, but even when I'm there now, because I know the pattern of that sine wave, I don't see it negatively. I would have, at the beginning, before I began to understand that, I would have gone into a negative response to it, I suppose. But I see now how important it is. I don't do that, Maggie, and that, without a doubt, what you were saying about controlling our thoughts controls our feelings, and how important it is. And like, it passes, and there's a lot to learn when you're in that low. That's one of the gifts of being, the low. There's a lot to learn there too. And I'm back now on a high again, and that just seems to, it's amazing, it works.
It really is. It really is amazing how that works. And here's something else to just make it more confusing for everybody. As your Kundalini equation expands, well, then you can see that as, say, going from the length of a small snake, about the size of your foot, to a gargantuous serpent about the size of a freight train. Now, if you're looking at the sine wave that, say, a long freight train makes, well, the upgrade on that sine wave, the wave that's going up, 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 and up, that can go up for a long, long, long ways. And you could stay on that continuous high point in the sine wave for a long, long time. I have a student right now in the UK, and this guy has been, he's had some fairly strong challenges, but he's mostly been on a continuously ascending sine wave. He has yet to really, really, really make that fall, and that's going to occur. But I think that within the context of thought control and emotional control, he will be very, very well prepared, so that when he does begin that slide down, that slide back down to earth, or into the deep, dark earthiness, the soil of where we have sprung from, of this body, that it won't be necessarily interpreted as a downer. You are.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily bad word. It's not necessarily negative. It can be a very, very positive event, and you can bring the gifts of that highness, that highnessness that you have, Amelia, and you can insert that into the understanding, the inner understanding of the individual as they're coming down from the stars and coming back to this planet. Well, you can bring the positivity that the stars have given you into the matrix of the planet, into the matrix of the mobile soil that we all are. We are all, these bodies are made up of this earth and the soil of the earth, the minerals of the earth, the crystals of the earth, and the water of the earth. And so as we slide down that sine wave, I would look at it as a way of downhill skiing. Okay, as you come up the sine wave, you're checking out the view. You're on the ski lift, of course, and so you're checking out the view. And oh my God, look at the Alps! They're so gorgeous. Oh my God, look at the snow. Look at the people. Oh, look at that guy down there who did this great jump with his skis. Look at the snowboarders kicking everybody off the slopes. And you have a great view of things, and you're ascending, and you're going into the sky, up the mountain, and you finally get off at the top of the mountain, the top of the highest ridge, and you get off of the lift smoothly, and you squirm yourself around so that you're facing downhill now, and you have your downhill skis on, and you kind of stamp your skis a little bit, and you check your bindings and your boots and your poles and your hat and your gloves and your sunglasses, and you make sure that you're ready for that downhill slide. And we got to understand that when you're taking that downhill slide on a pair of skis, you can get going really, really fast. And when you're coming down so fast that you lose control, well, that can be a very, very, very difficult scenario for an individual. Matter of fact, a long time ago student, back in 2010, 2011, he activated his Kundalini from a skiing accident where he went so fast going downhill that he lost control and impacted a tree with his lower spine, which activated his Kundalini. He had the tailbone and the lower three vertebrae, were hurt, damaged, and the Kundalini came into him and began to work on him and continues to work on him to this day. So when you're sliding down that hill, you're sliding down that sine wave, you got to be careful. You got to mitigate your speed, and when you're skiing, you learn how to snowplow, and that mitigates the rate of descent. And so I'm going to suggest that for Kundalini people too, that that when you're coming down, well, you start feeling off a little bit. You start feeling different from that high period of ecstasy and bliss and good feelings and the love that is so tangible. When you start sliding away from that, well, you want to start doing your speed control, your descent control. Kundalini is going to let you do that because she wants you to learn how to turn everything into a positive experience for you and your Kundalini, even on the downside. Just because you're going back down to the world doesn't mean it has to be a horrid experience. It can be a very positive experience of a different nature. It's just like colors, white and black. Well, you've got, let's just call white the high point and black the low point. Well, you know what? I enjoy burying myself in the sand on a beach. I enjoy taking a mud bath. Just before I did the show today, I was out here trying to fix the gate and digging in the soil and, putting a post in and cementing around the post, and getting that all hopefully doable. We'll see.
But going back on the metaphor, Chrism, the coming down, the first time it happened to me because I didn't have this information that you're giving to people now. I like to use the same metaphor of skiing. I passed where I originally got on that, what's it called, the ski ride, I went further down that. Yeah, I went way beyond where I had got, to the point where I really thought I was abandoned by the Kundalini. I thought the Kundalini had left me. But then, because I didn't have the information people are getting now, I didn't know how to mitigate that, I just plummeted and toppled and fell, and it was horrible.
I turned into a snowball. There was maybe a ski pole and an arm and a leg sticking out. But I turned into a snowball and impacted into a tree and into a canyon wall. And gratefully I wasn't injured, but, I was definitely educated. You get educated. One way or another, you're going to get educated. I mean, she'll give you the easy course or the hard course, and depending on your karma will determine what level of coursework you're going to get. But I know that
the hard one, and then it gets easier.
Well, yeah,
it gets easier though, with my experience, because I'm stopping. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it was very hard, and then it got easier for many reasons. The experience itself was a learning and a teaching, and then hearing the information, meeting you as my teacher, all of that. That all then makes it easier, and the sine wave being repeated. These are all ways that we learn then how to, go into that dark place when we plummet, and it's almost.
We have to learn to love the dark place and the lighted place equally.
Yes.
We have to learn to breathe air and breathe the soil at the same time, with equal comfort and equal joy and equal appreciation and gratitude. And so the sine wave that you noticed, like when I got kind of pushed out of my comfort zone up there on the London stage, and I'm like trying to figure out the PowerPoint presentation, and I'm pressing all the wrong buttons, and it's on this huge screen, maybe 150 people are there, and I'm just like going, oh, geez, it was painful. Oh my God! And Santara will tell you, how was I after that?
I'm not going to share.
I swear.
No, it was.
I had such a heartache. From that experience because of that, and I just have to, and I think that's just, it's a good teaching for me not to say yes to somebody that's trying to influence the way I do things with the Kundalini, because the Kundalini knows how it likes to express itself through me, and it's not with a PowerPoint presentation. And so, she pulled back during that presentation, at least to a degree. And even last week's show, I think people felt it was fairly uncoordinated, I guess. Would that be a good word?
That could be used, yeah. But she's always with you, though.
Oh, she's always with me, but
she doesn't ever abandon. I mean, she's always there.
Yeah. She's always there, everybody, and this is something Santara and I really, really want to really give into the population is once Kundalini's up, it's never gone. It's never gone. Once the awakened or even the activation has happened, it's always going to be pushing. If it's the activation, then you're going to be pushing towards a spinal sweep awakening. If it's the awakening, then you're going to be pushing towards a greater interaction with all forms of consciousness on this planet. But you the individual, you want to begin to well, here's what I'm going to suggest you do. Because Rosemary's online right now, let's go to Rosemary. Hi, Rosemary.
Hi there, Chrism.
Now, Rosemary, you live in Minnesota, correct?
I do.
And Minnesota is in the Great Plains of the North American continent, correct?
Yes.
And there in Minnesota, you have the Great Mall of America. And you yourself go to that Great Mall of America, and you started the whole thing about, living in a mall, right? Rosemary?
No, I don't think so. Not this lifetime.
That's a good answer. Good answer. Well, I'm going to suggest that people do what you do, Rosemary. And I don't know that you do this, but I'm going to tell you that I've noticed that you do this. And you look through the eyes of love at most people. You look with the eyes of non-judgmentalism. You look through the eyes of compassion, care, consideration, sympathy at other people. Am I correct? Is that something that you feel that is done through you?
I think so. Sometimes it's consciously, and I will do something sometimes, or say things, or just look aware of who we all are.
Right.
And
right.
it's very powerful for me. Thank you for reminding me, because
it's a very powerful thing for those who are on the receiving end of that grace as well, Rosemary. And I'm going to go ahead and put you in the Shiva blue. I just wanted you to know that and hear that and understand that. And I want everybody else to know that and hear that and understand that as well. As you come into a greater expression of awakened and activated Kundalini within your body, you'll still be able to experience negativity. It's just you won't experience negativity in the same way, perhaps, that you have experienced it before in your pre-activated or pre-awakened state. You can still have love for others, for yourself. You can still go out and help others. You can still give compassionate care, loving concern for others. And you can also do this for the environment. Once again, it's not all about humans. Okay? There are far more fellow mortals on this planet than there are humans. Let that sink in a little bit. If the insects decided to consume humanity, humanity would probably last a little less than half a day. Think about that. We live by the grace that flows through our fellow mortals. That grasshopper, that cricket, that beetle, that bee, that wasp, that spider, they're all helping you to be here, to live here, to function here, to have Kundalini come awake in you here. And they'll come as examples, Magdalene de Deus in France, she has the spiders come to her. She has them, they've been coming to her for years. She'll have some amazing Kundalini vision, and as the vision fades away, she'll see like a discarnate spider hanging on an invisible web above her, and all of a sudden it disappears too. Elizabeth Dalton Gonzalez, she's had the same connection with the Peruvian jumping spider. She watched it sink its fangs into her wrist and then take her on a jungle educational tour, explaining to her what plants did what and what trees were used for what and how this reflects to that. And this was being given to her from one of the most venomous spiders that exists in the Amazonian rainforest, which would be a Peruvian jumping spider, which is not a small thing. Look that up on Google Images, Peruvian jumping spider. You can see what a beautiful, beautiful spider that is. I'm saying that because I'm going down to Peru. An absolutely gorgeous spider. So yeah, it's not all about humans. But as you come down that ski slope of the downward journey, you still have love, you still have grace, you still have warmth, you still have all the qualities that Kundalini gives to you. She's giving you the opportunity to begin to change the way you internalize your emotional states. So, most people don't like change. Most people don't like change that they don't have reference for, which means fear of the unknown. And so how do you handle that fear? How are you going to do it differently? How are you going to leave this conversation that we're having right now, guest 1954 and guest 2040, Mary Jean and Vincent and Josephine, who is heading up I-5 right now. We're going to be blessed with Josephine's presence here, with Rosemary in the Great Prairie, and with Santara in the Emerald Isle. How is everybody listening to this? And those of you in the archives who are listening in the future, you future people, how are you going to leave this conversation changed in any way when you begin to encounter challenging Kundalini correction or custodial work, as Mary Jean's Kundalini told her? The custodian work is done now. Time to jump to the next stage. Well, maybe your custodian work is finished or almost finished. And maybe it's time for you to do exactly what was being suggested for Mary Jean to do. Vincent, maybe that's something that you need to do. Vincent is another guest on our chat group. How many of you are actively volunteering for others? How many of you are actively smiling, opening doors, buying a lunch for somebody? And I don't mean family members. I don't mean friends. I mean perfect strangers if possible. Don't endanger yourself. But buy a lunch for a perfect stranger. Help each other. Let us help each other. The Kundalini wants us to help each other. And it also wants us to begin to control our hurtful emotional proclivities. So if we have something that is unknown to us and we're afraid of it, Are we lashing out at it, or are we getting the bow and arrow? Are we shooting an arrow at it? Are we getting a 30-30? Are we shooting a bullet at it? What are we doing? Are we looking at it and going, you know, I'm your friend too? Can you place yourself in that unknown space? Maybe in your history, you encountered something that was unknown and that was frightening to you. How did you respond? And what would you do differently today if you had the same opportunity come up? And I'm going to suggest, let's just keep it positive, my friends. Let's keep it positive. The custodial work is cleaning up your emotional responses, your ego-based emotional response. He hit me, therefore I'm going to hit him. He stole money from me, therefore I'm going to steal money from him. He cut me off in traffic, therefore I'm going to speed up and cut him off in traffic. Like they do in Ireland. Sort of. They still have to figure out which side of the road to drive on there. It's a little different. I saw a red light come on. So here, let me give you an example. And Santara, you stay on because you were here. We had a Kundalini gathering on the West Coast in 2011, I think it was, and people came from all over the world to gather at the Bodega Bay in Northern California. And so, we have about 20, maybe 22 people there. And the inspiration came to me, you need to be giving Shaktipat to these people since they came all this way and we're all here together. Let's go ahead and let's really give them a bit of a punch to it. And I just queried, well, okay, Shaktipat, how? Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Did you hear that?
I did hear that, but you're still on air.
Well, that's just so weird.
I don't know what that was.
Who else is on? It's just you and I, right?
Yeah, and nobody new has joined us, and nothing is happening on my phone. I don't know.
I have no idea. Odd.
Okay.
Everybody, I don't know if you heard that, but it sounded like a human voice coming through. Anyway, so I was given by my Kundalini to get out into the ocean with my back to the ocean. My mother always told me, never turn your back on the ocean. Never, ever, ever, ever turn your back on the ocean. And so I was raised from a very young age never to do that. Let's see here. Santara, I'm getting noise from your microphone here.
I did move my phone actually just there. I'm putting it down now again. Okay.
All right, thank you. So I went ahead and went against my mom's advice, and I turned my back on the ocean. You got to understand something about Bodega Bay, California. Bodega Bay is about 3 miles from where the great white sharks of the Central and Northern Pacific come to breed and eat. And that was consistently on my mind as I went through 22 people, waist deep, like in about 4.5 feet of water, easily where great white could just come up and take us. And I had to give total emotional control to my lower self, to my ego self, saying, "Oh, dude, great white shark area, hello." And I'd go, dude, Shakti Kundalini controls, hello. And so this is happening inside of me, and I don't know if you noticed that, Santara, when I was out there, but first of all, it was really cold. The water's like 50 degrees. And Santara, do you remember that? I
do, and it was 2010 actually, not 2011.
2010.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah, I think it was September 2010 in Bodega Bay. Yeah, I do remember that. But what I remember is somebody would go out to you for the Shaktipat, and like when I went out, you were totally and completely, with that person and focused. But as they left and moved back into the shore before the next person came, I think that's when,
that's when I turn around and look
a few times.
I'm looking for that fin, even though they're not the kind of shark that uses a fin. They just come up from under you.
Yeah. But I hear what you're saying, though, because you were 100% present, and I know that would not have been a comfortable place for you to be. Let's put it like that. So I see what you're saying about controlling that aspect.
This is what we use our that brain organ, the I'm trying to think of it's a Latin name for the brain organ that kind of allows you to put things on hold, without. So what I did is I used that scenario as a teaching for myself to you just have to trust the Kundalini. And if it was my time to be eaten by a great white shark because she wanted me out there in that water doing Shaktipat baptisms, then that was what I needed to do at that time. And so I went ahead and did it. And I did my very, very level best to just, relax about the whole great white shark thing and just, be there and be very, very, very focused on the individual and talk to them. And then, I put them deep under the water, too. And I held them there for a while. Am I right?
You did. Oh, God, yes.
Yeah, and they had to do the same thing that I was doing about the great white shark. They were doing about me. Well, how long is he going to hold me under? What if I have to breathe? Will he let me up? What's going on? And so they had to kind of put their own fears on hold as well. And this is all about trust in the Kundalini. This is all about trust. The more you trust the Kundalini, the greater level of emotional control you'll have. You'll be able to turn things in a much more positive way, and you'll be able to have so much less fear in your life. Because you're here because of the Kundalini. That is the only reason you're here. Your raison d'etre, your reason for being, is to have the Kundalini. And the Kundalini is real. That doesn't mean you go out and play in the freeway or in the motorway, as they say in other places. That doesn't mean that, you don't care and you can just play Russian roulette with a pistol. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about being irresponsible and with your trust of the Kundalini. You want to take care of that body. You want to take care of yourself. You want to take care of this holy grail that you are becoming with the Kundalini. But you are becoming it with the Kundalini only to be able to serve others with it. To serve God and Goddess with it. To serve the world with it. Not to serve yourself. Kundalini will serve you. She will give you what you need to have. And even many times what you want to have. She understands you have wants and desires, and sometimes those things are fulfilled. But the real reason for having Kundalini is to be of spiritual, energetic service to other people, and sometimes physical service too. I've lifted cars up from people. I've gone into wrecks, and I've pulled people out of vehicles. And that's not just... What I'm saying is I've risked my life in order to help another person's life. And I want you to understand that you don't have to do that. You don't have to risk your life. You don't have to walk into the shark cage or anything like that, or outside the shark cage. You just have to be willing to give service the best way you know how. I took medical courses, and so I knew how to be a first responder. And so, of course, I would stop. That doesn't mean that people that don't stop are bad people. Maybe they didn't take the course. Okay? But to have the Kundalini is to have grace. And to have grace is to be given the opportunity to extend grace to other people. That's the point. It is about extending divine love, a.k.a. grace, into the planet, into the... Yeah. Amelia, you sure that's not you?
No, it's definitely not me. I'm sitting here really still. There's nothing happening on my phone. It is not me, Chris.
Are you charged? Because it sounds like a charge thing.
No, it is not. I'm not getting messages. There's nothing going on here.
So
There's
weird.
no charge. My charge is fine. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's another Blog Talk mystery. So let's just make it positive, and we'll say hello, whatever. Maybe it's Kundalini coming in and going, I think it's Kundalini coming in and going, I'm here, folks. I'm here.
Can I say something about trust?
Please.
Yeah, like we'll say the examples you gave there. And what I've learned with my Kundalini about trust is that, you know, it's not, okay, so I trust the Kundalini. It's not that I trust I'll be safe or that I trust it'll be as I want it to be. It's really about trusting, you know, no expectation that the outcome will be as I want it to be. You know, like you said, maybe the shark will take me, maybe it won't. I trust the Kundalini. So you put aside your preferred outcome in a way. And it is the same when we were under the water, when I was under the water. Would you keep me there long? If you kept me there too long, how would I respond? I put that aside. I put aside my own preferred outcome.
Right.
And that's what trust the Kundalini is. It's like, you know, the breath being taken from you, or will I die with this heart palpitation? It's about trusting that if I die, I die. Trusting that the Kundalini has it in its control. And my preferred outcome. That's weird, Chrism. That sound, isn't it?
I got a ping. I got a ping, so
oh,
that was
on my... I'm getting a voice.
Huh? I'm sorry?
I'm hearing another voice as well.
What do you mean, another voice? Is it me? Am I having another voice here? Hi, Amelia.
Oh.
Secretly talking to you. Listen, can't hear you.
But anyway.
Wait a minute.
Thing about
Wait, is the voice in your head or on the phone?
Who knows?
As long as it's being productive and helpful, right?
Sometimes it's just there, and really it's not about trying to identify where it's coming from. It's just a voice. Anyway, so I just think that's the trust that, you know, I suppose for a while my trust was as being, oh, I trust it'll be okay, but it would have been a trust with wanting my outcome to happen. Do you know what I mean? So it's about letting that go and totally not having any agenda. And if it's your time to be taken by a shark, if it's your time to be kept under the water too long, so be it. You trust the Kundalini. Yeah.
And you're not out there. You're not out there because you like standing in bay water. You know, you're not out there. You're out there because you've been given to go out there, and so you're following an instruction. You're following in a way a command, a Kundalini command, and when you're following those commands, you know, you can trust. You can trust that it's not being made, you know, just spuriously. Oh boy, I'm sorry. Turning this off.
Well, it's like when, you know, the instructions from a teacher, when a student agrees, and we all did in Bodega, and it's the same with your private students and with me, when you give me an instruction, that is a trusting of the Kundalini. So, for example, you'd have told me to go out into the populations, you know, you'd have given me very specific things to do. So you trust, if that's that's all part of the learning of how to trust your Kundalini more. At least it was part of my classroom anyway.
It's all about trust, folks. And just as Centaura said, I mean, you know, I do give her commands to go out into the population to do those things. I mean, she does some very, very positive things into the population too, and not to blow a horn about her too much, but you know, she's working with cancer patients and things of that nature, and people of that nature, and it's a very positive gift that she gives with her Kundalini to the populations. And I encourage all of you to do it in whatever way suits you, or in whatever way your Kundalini commands you to. But you got to trust. And when you're on that sine wave and you're on that downward part of it, and you feel like you're going too fast, and maybe you're encountering too much negativity and you're starting to get afraid, you just begin to say, I trust you, my Kundalini. Just say that. Say that mantra, okay? I'm giving you a mantra, everybody, right now. Quote, I trust you, my Kundalini. Close quote. That's the mantra. Just say it over and over and over. As you get frightened, if you're frightened by entities, or if you're frightened by, a situation that is causing you discomfort, you just begin to say that mantra. I trust you, my Kundalini. 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 Okay? That's what you're going to want to say. And it will work. It will work for you. All right, so if you have any questions about this, I want you to feel free to call in at 347-934-0026. In the meantime, we're moving on over to our question portion. And I know that some of you are just going to say, oh, my God, the questions. Okay, I'm out of here. No.
I hope not. Well, let me say, I have only 3, maybe 4 questions today. Very scarce on the ground, right. Chrism. So I'll give you, So the first one is, does God
Wait. Can you fix your microphone again, or do something with your phone?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, how's this?
Try asking the question.
Okay. God death appear in known or just unknown form of masculine, feminine in divine merging?
Wait. Back it up all the way to the beginning again. Fix your microphone, or maybe not. Maybe modulate your voice a little bit, because it's breaking up all over the place.
Okay. 1 second, Chrism. Let me see.
It sounds clearer when you're not speaking so loud.
Oh, okay. Does God, Goddess appear? Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Does God, Goddess appear in known form or just unknown form of masculine, feminine in divine merging?
What? So the question is, stop. Let me just put it back to you, okay? So the question is, during the divine merge, does God present itself as a god or a goddess, or both? Right? Is that what's being asked?
I think, is it a known form with a name,
It can be. I mean,
or an unknown form.
Well, let's just say, say a person's very, very devout religious, and they're doing, the Kundalini's coming to them through the copious amounts of prayer and meditation and perhaps service they do, very similar to Rosemary in a way. Does God present itself in a familiar form to the individual that's happening? It can, absolutely. If you're a devout Christian, then Jesus may come to you. But if you're a devout Christian, Krishna may come to you. Or Zoroaster may come to you, or Athena may come to you. I mean, you pick the historical epoch of whatever belief system that humanity has used over the centuries, and the people that are involved in that religious worship can have the Kundalini bring those archetypes that are involved within that religion to that person as an actual tangible vision. Not always that way, though. I mean, I know for you, Santara, you were raised a Catholic, a Christian Catholic in Ireland, and your first, maybe not your first, but you had a lot of Hindu stuff coming to you during your Kundalini, right?
Yes, during the Kundalini event, as I call it, definitely Hindu goddesses and Vishnu, which I had no clue what Vishnu. I just had no understanding. I knew nothing about Hindu.
Right. What's a Vishnu?
Vishnu was the name that I was given.
You could be asking, what's a Vishnu? Where the heck did that come from? Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that it was, I knew it was God. I knew it was divine, but I had no clue that there was a specific named, let's say, deity or male, masculine, divine. Well,
I've had a couple of people come out here to the West Coast and have Jesus present himself to them. I mean, it happens. It does happen. So I would have to say, I'd have to say yes to that question.
I think it probably that it appears within the context of your own religion. Does it, Chrism?
No, because it didn't appear in the context of yours.
No, it didn't. But I thought maybe it typically does. I don't know.
One of the people that saw Christ didn't even know who he was.
Oh, okay.
She pointed out a picture of my wall and said, Who's that person? And I said, why do you ask? She said, well, came to me in my bedroom this morning. Oh, really? What did he say? Well, she goes on with the experience. But, when I said it, I said, oh, it's Jesus. And she goes, does that mean I'm a Christian? And I said, no. You want to be? So the thing is, no.
I probably the same thing.
It will not. Right. It won't necessarily follow the religious theme that a person has been introduced to in their life. So no.
And somebody said to me afterwards, it was probably a past life. And I don't think it matters whether it was or not. What I learned from it for myself was that it was the Kundalini showing me personally, that God was more than Christ, and that was something that I learned because I would have been brought up with that belief system, that there was one God, and his name was Jesus Christ. And so that the Kundalini gave me the experience of the when the Kundalini awakened, gave me a very different experience because it was something that I personally had to come to realize,
Well, and it's also it's coming from divinity as well. I mean, it's coming from the source.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
And I knew that. So that's when the things started to crumble in terms of, my belief systems. How could I stick to that and the dogmas and all of that,
Right.
Anyway,
right.
Okay. So the next question.
Okay.
There are Reiki and other spiritual teachers who charge large amounts of fees. Will their karma lead them to suffering?
There are what?
There are teachers, spiritual teachers and Reiki teachers who charge large amounts of fees, money. Will their karma lead them to suffering?
It might lead them to poverty. It might lead them to... I mean, here's the thing. If they're charging the money out of greed and want of gain, then they're going to develop karma over that. If they're charging money to cover the costs of the place they're speaking at or the airfare to get over there, no. And if they're not making a killing out of it, if they're I always say this at my seminars. It's like I don't make a lot of money off of these, and it's really not the intention to charge you $5,000 a person to do that. I'll charge what needs to be charged. Actually, when somebody like you set up a seminar before, and as has Rosemary and as in Eileen and other people, and so the scenario is we have to cover our costs. I don't need, if I can come away with some money out of the deal, fine, great, it's good to eat. But I'm not going to come out of it with the money to buy a Lamborghini or a Porsche or some, expensive thing. That's not the point. When I went to London and I spoke at London, and these guys are charging so much money to people to hear them speak about. The word drivel comes to mind, but I'm not sure that's kind of loaded with judgment. To speak of things that, well, I guess that are just not Kundalini and not necessarily truth either. And yet they're very, very, very successful, and they're just, they're dating Hollywood starlets, and I'm getting all of this as we're all walking to a restaurant and all the speakers are eating together, and I'm just kind of like going, wow, these people are really, they're giving so little and receiving so much. Definitely a karma coming at them through that. Receiving so much and giving so little. And how much is much? How much is too much? How much? I mean, Rosemary's out there, a few years back, and she's sewing sleeping bags together. She's dropping off food to the homeless. She's buying people shoes and giving them the jacket or the clothing off of her back to help them stay warm. Should she be recompensed by the Kundalini in some way for those efforts? Or is that not just a gift of grace, a gift of love, a gift of the goddess within her that is saying, here, take of my warmth, stay warm. Take of my serenity and stay serene. Take of my energy and let yourself be energized. And do that for somebody else when you get to a point where you can do that for somebody else. It's a big deal, and it's like you go out there into the populations of Ireland and you give KITT, Kundalini Infused Therapeutic Touch. Are you? I know you own like 7 or 8 houses now, but have you upgraded your car yet?
No. You're so funny. No, I mean, yeah, that's.
You have the house. You got some property. Let's face it, and this is not a bad thing. This is not a bad thing. Are you charging exorbitant prices? What are you charging for a KITT?
I don't charge for KITT, Chrism. I charge for.
Yes. I do massage classes. I do give massages. I do charge something for those. Yeah. Okay. All right. Is that how you were able to buy all those homes?
No, I sold one and I bought 2 small ones. Because I was in debt.
Okay, all right. Next question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this is a slightly longer one. Is the sound okay as I begin?
Speak softly.
Okay. I have an autoimmune disorder, lichen sclerosis. I'm sure. It's manifested about a year ago upon my activation. I'm definitely on a healing journey, to say the least. I wonder exactly what Chrism can Chrism speak on as far as Kundalini coming with such situations. I'm sure it's of some sort. The exact origination has not yet
I've already got it.
Okay.
I've already got it.
All right.
It's a karma. This person's custodial work is not done yet. This person needs to learn how to live with this karmic dis-ease, D-I-S, and then space, E-A-S-E. And the Kundalini will indeed come and heal it, but they need to learn how to accept that healing and learn how not to go into negativity or anger or victimization or any of these types of things. This is balancing in action. And so as this person balances and comes into perhaps a greater level of understanding, a greater level of self-correction, a greater level of behavioral modification, this person will indeed embrace their Kundalini, and that Kundalini will embrace that disease to the degree that balance has been given. And that dis-ease will fade away.
Okay, thank you.
Not always. It's not a clear thing that, Chrism said your disease is going to fade away. Therefore, there it goes. Look at it. Oh my gosh! Get a picture quick. Not necessarily that way. Not necessarily that way. It's about not hurting others because you're hurting. It's about not going into getting bitter over having an ailment in the middle of such a blessing as Kundalini. Wow, how could I have an ailment if my Kundalini is activated? What's going on here? Well, you can have an ailment because you need to have that ailment. That ailment can be a great boost to your immune system, but you got to have the ailment to get it to the immune system. And so on and so forth. The Kundalini works in very, very, very different ways than what our five senses are able to collectively cogitate or to figure out. Okay? And having a disease upon an activation is one of those ways. One of those ways, Like I've never been allergic to anything except maybe poison oak, which is, urushiol oil. But all of a sudden, boom, right before I go to London and right after Kundalini at the Castle in Port Townsend, Washington, my hands start to peel. And I did that video in France about the snake shedding its skin. Well, sometimes, at least for me, an allergy has to come in order for the palms of my hand to shed their skin. The palms of my hand, and you take that, you look at that, you're like, here I am, I've had Kundalini for 25, 26 years now, and why would this all of a sudden be happening now? What's going on? Well, what do you do with your hands? What are you doing with your fingers? Well, you're touching people. You're communicating with people. You're creating things with your hands and with your fingers. And so, of course, Kundalini wants the new skin there. And if she wants you to change your diet, well, then she'll just make you allergic to something. Hello? I was never allergic to anything. All of a sudden now, I got to look at what it is I'm eating a little more carefully than I ever had to before. She'll come at you in very, very different ways. And Shiva will come at you in very, very different ways. And you have to understand that they're not doing it to be vindictive. They're doing it to help you. It's just that the assistance is not always given in the familiar expression of that. So there you have it. Over.
In the context of that question, would a person seek healing, or would a person trust that what has been done, how...
Would a person trust what now? What? Say again?
Would a person in a situation... Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Would a person who has a dis-ease, would they or should they look for healing, or should they trust that it's there for the purpose and trust the Kundalini with it and not look for a healing?
They can do both.
Okay.
They can do both. You can look for a healing, and if it comes, great. If it doesn't come, it's not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
People give me, they give me healings all the different time. Yeah, I get healings for my truck mostly, or my car. and which you have you.
Well, when you're sitting in it in the front of the room.
I was on the side of the road. That's right. But yeah. I mean, I do get healings for the machines, and I thank you all for giving me healings for any of the ways and reasons that you do it for. But a person can seek a healing and just trust that the Kundalini is there at the same time. Now, there is a level of balance between those two. If you're constantly seeking a healing because it's such an amazing change of your lifestyle, your life pattern, but it's not happening. The MDs aren't successful, the shamans aren't successful, the pharmaceutical companies aren't successful. The New Age community isn't being successful, and you're trying all these different healing modalities and being infected by discarnate entities along the way, which is typical. But you're not receiving a healing. Then I would say just stop and go within. Stop and go within and change your perspective on why this ailment is there with you, and begin to embrace it, and begin to work with it, and begin to be grateful for the Kundalini in whatever way it is interacting with you at that time. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. Last question. Last night I had a weird dream. I don't remember what it was, but someone said, "Look to your left." And as I looked, I was shocked. I woke up then and suddenly found myself sitting in shock, looking in reality at a white figure to my left. My friend woke up and she was thinking I had a nightmare. I kept looking at that figure while my friend was telling me, "It's okay, there is nothing there." Can we really see a white figure in physical reality? Are they entities, or was it just in my head?
It's a waking vision. And a waking vision is typically only for the one person that is having it. Not always, but most of the time it is for the person that is having the vision. And so if he said, look to his left, and he looked to his left and he saw the white figure there, yeah, you bet, it's real. It's a real deal, and you need to pay attention. Over.
Okay. I'm just checking my inboxes now, Chrism, in case a late question came in.
That's
and as I look, are there any questions there on the chat room?
Well, let me ask you. We got guest 1954 and 2277, Mary Jean and Vincent 91. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask now, or I will be ending the show slightly earlier than normal. So there you have it.
So I've got a message.
Yeah.
I have a message. So this is from Manisha. She says, okay. When dancing at the weekends, I am high. And during the week, I am working to get to the weekend. And I sometimes wonder if Kundalini is really activated in me. But of course she is. There are some small signs during the working week that I do notice. But there are such differences in the way she is present. And then she goes on to say, my practice and self-discipline for the time being is not good, and that is really in a valley. I must pull myself together. And she says it's just great hearing Chrism talking about trust. Heart.
Oh, is she online? Is she listening? I guess so.
She is listening, but she couldn't get into the chat room, Chrism.
Okay. It's gonna come at you in many, many different ways. I would not become a bliss bunny, i.e., I wouldn't become so addicted to the good feelings and the ecstasy and the bliss and all these things that the Kundalini can bring to the degree that that's all you live for. You need to look at the reasons behind having such amazing, exalted levels of love, and where in the population you can begin to spread that love into this world, into this environment, into the many, many people that could definitely use it. It's not coming to us so that we can just hog it all for ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not coming. It's not coming to us just because we're so special and oh, look at how special I am, and oh gosh, I just love dancing because I get ecstasy and joy and so much complete union when I'm dancing, and it's like nothing else matters. Well, everything else matters. Everything else matters. It all matters. And so yes, Manisha, beautiful, dear sweet Manisha, who I met in London, very, very grateful to have met her and Hannah and everybody. Change your perspective. Don't go for just what is tactile pleasure. It's like people having sex. Typically people have sex because they want to have that that moment of explosive ecstasy, and so that everything is just being propelled towards that moment of explosive ecstasy, and then boom, you're done. It's not like that at all. You don't want to make it like that. Dancing is one expression that works for you, Manisha. Try letting your feelings dance. Try letting your vision dance. Try letting the dance movements of service dance itself through you. You're being given a tool and a grace at the same time. Maybe you should be teaching dancing. Maybe that's part of the deal for you. But don't look at it for simple self-aggrandizement or simple self-pleasuring. It's not about that at all. The fact that you're being given pleasure during the times that you're not working is great, and that's wonderful. But I want you to explore different ways from different perspectives that allow you during the week, during the times that you're not dancing, to express yourself as motivated by the success that you have with dancing. And look at how you can reach into the populations. Look at how you can begin to affect change in other people by virtue of the dancing. And look at the idea of teaching the dancing, teaching ecstatic dance. That's what it is, ecstatic dance. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. Okay, well, that's it from me from this side, from the point of view of questions. I'm just going to give that website. Did I give it at all, actually? I didn't. Let me give the website if people would like to make a donation to the work that Chrism does. All donations are gratefully received and are necessary. So if you're in a position to give one, that would be wonderful. And here is the address you can go to. There's two of them. www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, or the other one, which is chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com. chrism-kundalini.blogspot.com, and there you will find the donate button, and again, gratefully received if you want to and you're in a position to make a donation. So that's me over, Chrism.
Oh, thank you, everybody, for coming now. Just to reassess a little bit, just to do a little recap. The Kundalini never leaves you. It's like that sine wave. You'll have the highs and you'll have the lows, but even though you're having the highs and the lows, it doesn't mean that it's there because you're high and then it's gone because you're low. It's there all the time. It will choose when it comes through an individual. So, for instance, when I'm speaking to you, even here on the radio or on BlogTalk Radio, Kundalini in me will choose if it's going to come through my voice when I give the Om or when I'm explaining things. And it will choose who's going to hear it. So guest 1954 may not hear it as clearly as Mary Jean, but may hear it clearer than guest 1963. Okay, I mean, it's going to, a lot of it's going to be based upon how you are able to pick up information from your own Kundalini. So know that and understand that and trust this force. Trust this divine force. This is God incarnate upon and within you. The real deal. This isn't about hoping and praying that Jesus comes and saves the day. It's not hoping and praying that Allah comes and saves the day, or Buddha comes and saves the day, or Krishna comes and saves the day. It's not about all those men anyway. It's the sacred feminine that comes up first. Hello, ladies. It's the sacred feminine that nurtures the child, that gestates the child. The birth is, in some ways, it's an activation. In some ways, it's a spinal sweep. Okay. So understand that, know that, realize that, and trust this force. This is the most important thing for you to do, is to trust the Kundalini, especially if you are in a frightening or scary situation. Remember that mantra. What was that mantra, Santara?
I trust you, my Kundalini.
I
do my
trust you, my Kunalini. I trust you.
I trust you, Kundalini. I trust you, my Kundalini.
That's right.
I trust you, my Kundalini. Yeah.
Okay, there you have it. There you have it, everybody. And so, any last words, Ireland?
I'm wondering, do we have a phone caller there that might like to speak with you? Will you tap dance and I'll go check?
Let's have a look here. The 651 number. Yeah, okay. Here we go. Go ahead.
No, 111.
What? Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Well, where is that? How's she checking with it? I guess I'll just go over here. Do that. Boom. There you are. Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, Chrism.
Hi. Who's this?
How are you? I just wanted to ask you one question. I stopped drinking coffee and I stopped drinking soda, and I just wanted to know, I know all caffeine products you cannot have, so that's a no-no with the Kundalini. But what I wanted to know, can you drink decaf coffee? Is that acceptable or no?
Yeah, if you can get the
or
water.
Is decaf bad?
If you can get the water expressed decaf tea or decaf coffee, that's fine. Just make sure it's not decaffeinated through chemical means.
Okay.
Another thing that you might want to look into. Do you like your coffee, right?
I like coffee, but I gave it up.
Well, hang on. I was just a second here. Santara, I want you to tap dance for me here. I'm going to go get something.
Okay. I think the decaf coffee feature is, decaffeinated through chemicals. I think that's really bad. But there are, if you're doing the cafeteria stuff, and you can get the decaf that is done through water decaffeination. It's some kind of a method with Swiss purified water or something. That's okay. That's certainly better than the chemical stuff. Because, of course, with the chemical stuff, you're then adding the chemicals as well, which is not good.
Okay.
Sometimes it can even be worse. Oh, here he's back.
Okay.
I tap dance.
Thank you, dancer. We'll have to have Manisha come on here and have both of you tap dance. Let's see. What I have is something that is called gourmet black coffee made with 100% certified Ganoderma lucidum, which is a mushroom.
Okay.
And so this is an instant coffee beverage, and it comes with these sachets or sachets or however you pronounce that. This has absolutely no caffeine. This has absolutely no coffee in it. This is all made out of fungi that taste amazingly like coffee.
Oh.
So it has. Wait a minute. Let me look here. Let me make sure I'm not speaking out of the wrong end. It's hard for me to tell. I'm looking here. Looks like it comes from France. Yeah, I don't see any caffeine at all. No sugars. A little bit of fiber. 0.7 grams of protein. So it's called Gourmet Cafe Noir.
Okay.
And it's called Organo. Organo.
Organo.
And it's instant coffee. You just, these little sachets, you just, boom, it's there. And I tried it. She made it a little strong for me. The lady that was, we were doing a talk at one of the places where Rosemary set up a talk here, and the owner of the building or of the room introduced me to that, and so she made it a little strong. But I have it here, and I, so there are options, Beatrice.
Okay.
Beatrice. There are options that you can have. And one thing I would suggest that's coming clearly for you, Beatrice, is Dong Quai, D-O-N-G, space, Q-U-A-I, ginseng tea.
Ginseng tea. Okay.
And this is one of the few ginseng teas that are specifically for women. Dong Quai, okay? And that's another option that you can have. And so there are some coffee substitutes out there. So yeah, you go for it, girl. And it's an excellent question. And thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you for the information.
All right.
Have a wonderful night.
Blessings to you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye-bye. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. My mom never really took us to church except on Christmas and Easter. So I never really had that problem with saying Merry Christmas because that's just what it was. And, with my name being, Chris or Chrism, it's just Merry Chrism, and so I never had a problem with it. But I know people of different faiths.
Oh, my God, I will never be able to say Christmas again in the same way.
Christmas. Anyway, listen, I love you all. I love all of you. I love you, Mary Jean, Vincent, and everybody who's on the telephone. I love all of you that are coming into this program through the archives. And I want to thank you for joining us. And I want to once again say the major thing here is to trust your Kundalini. Trust it completely. It never leaves you. It's a conscious force, so within its conscious force of itself upon you, it will choose when it's coming through you or not. But it's always there with you. It is always there with you. And if you can possibly give sacred service into the populations of people or of fellow mortals like dogs, cats, insects, fish, fungi, bacteria, viruses, all of those things, all of those living communities that we share this world with, and you give that grace to them too. And any last words, Santara?
No, Chrism, thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing everybody next week again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And if you will join me wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and we will all of us will om the end of this show. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and